schematic changes on the lines. What have you done specifically on the offensive line? How do you think it's going to help?
Well, I think we're just trying to do things a little bit faster for the whole operation, try to make it a little more consistent in terms of how many schemes we ask them to master, so to speak. I think they're working on a lot of new things technique-wise. That'll take some time to get used to. I think they've made a lot of strides in the spring and summer. Today, you know, is a little bit good, a little bit bad. It's the first day. We're not really in pads, so it's hard to tell sometimes. So really just trying to use our best guys, try to rank our best players and use them in that order and put it with a scheme that fits our whole team rather than just those guys. You know, with kind of, if you begin end in mind, the front is where it starts. And how well can we block something? If we can't block it, no matter what good idea it is for Raheem or Pop or whoever it might be, then we can't do it. But these guys are, I think we'll be fine. I mean, I know there's concern and there's some new guys up there, and I think we have right now, I say we have 6 or 7 guys we could go with, and we obviously want that number to go up. And that's kind of what camp will be all about, trying to get that number to keep going up.
So it's like zone, man stuff, you know, rules, change like that.
Yeah, I think we changed up a little bit how we're doing it. Okay. Not so much what, technique-wise and combination-wise. I think we're a little bit different. They'll allow us to be a little more sound, square, maybe stay on some things a little bit longer. I mean, we looked at a lot of different schemes. We're trying to do some things, you know, schematically with moving guys around to try to give them a little bit of advantage and slow the defense down a little bit as best we can. But, you know, ultimately we have to block them. But I like the way, like I said, I think right now we have 6 or 7 guys we feel really good about. Obviously, as attrition begins, you'd rather that number be 9 or 10.
Yesterday you said you hadn't seen McClain throw a pass. Today you have. What do we think?
The old instant evaluation?
Yes.
Well, here's, for sure, he's a football guy who understands concepts, understands how to run a team, run a huddle. You know, we had some good, some bad today. Some of the concepts are a little bit new or different, and getting used to how our defense plays them. You know, he got caught a couple times, and he scrambled and threw one back across the field, which is a number one. But he's trying to show something. You know, it's his first day out here in front of everybody. But he's a real quarterback for sure. He's talented. He's smart. He's got a good demeanor about him and the way he runs the huddle, and I think the team responds to him. I think we just, to be fair to him, just let him continue to get used to it, although I think he had a good day. I'm not saying he didn't. I think as he continues to get used to the concepts, you can tell when a guy's up at the line kind of scanning it. You guys saw it last year with Art, and even in games early in the year where he's looking around a little bit before the snap, and you pretty much know on the sideline this is not going to be good. We saw that a couple of times with McClain, but then you could see as practice went on, he figured some of the stuff out and got used to who the guys were, and it kind of got better as it went. So I thought it was a really encouraging day for, you know, first time we ever really got to see him live.
How tough is it this early in this kind of setting, just with no pads and no pass rush, to get a real gauge on it?
At least, you know, like at least when you see a guy pick it up and start throwing it around, you realize he can physically do it. That's number one. And then when you see kind of his demeanor and how when you talk football with him, that he could take it from just the meeting or the walkthrough to the field. I mean, he really didn't make a lot of mistakes today, or didn't get lost in the middle of plays today. He might have been maybe a half count behind, like just not as sure as he would be if he'd run the play X amount of times. But I think those things, you know, if you come out and the ball's sailing or at the ground, or it's like you can't quite get it out in the huddle, or you can't, you know, you're thinking, wow, we're starting from square one. I thought he did a really good job. I thought that was a hard job for him today. It's kind of all eyes on him because nobody really seen him. They saw him a little bit in summer, but not. It's a whole different setting. You know, I thought our timing was a little bit off today. It said it to Art. Like, I think Art did a really good job today of getting it out and finding the backs when it wasn't there, but the timing's different than it was all summer when it's a real pass rush and guys are holding on for their lives trying to block for you. It's not like when there's 7-on-7 in summer and it's all, you know, just throw it down the field. So it was fun to watch. I thought they did pretty well.
Coach, with McClain being a lefty, do you have to change things much when he goes in there?
You know, a little bit. Yeah, you know, there's some things that trying at least, especially early on, you know, not make him do, you know, go to his right and makes hard threats. It's going to be hard enough to get settled. Let him do things where he's comfortable setting up, kind of script it that way, knowing what his plays are going to be, and then as we go, we kind of expand from there. But it is a little bit different on some of the stuff we do, lefty-righty. And the players got to get it. It's different how the ball comes down. I was in Jacksonville with Brunell. There's times he got knocked out of the game. The other guy came in, and guys were like, "It's bizarre. It spins different." the deep balls tail a different way, and it's kind of interesting. But so for our receivers, it'd be interesting to see if they, when they get in with the ones and twos, if it's different for them catching the ball.
Basically, it's an entirely new group of tight ends. Where do you feel about the blocking of those guys?
Well, that's what I think that's going to be the biggest test. I don't want to make any great decisions today in helmets. I think when we get pads on, in fairness to them, it's going to be a little bit different. I think people made the decision at some point. You'd love to have the guy who was lucky in the Chargers, the Hunter Henry, who might be one of the only guys left that can block and go run and scare you. I think as long as those guys can catch third downs, for first downs, can catch touchdowns in the red, can help move the sticks, we'll live with just getting them in the best technique we can and have them just fight their rear ends off every play, knowing that it is not always going to be pretty. Right away we go to Iowa with this big 94 guy. He's probably one of the best D linemen in the league. We're not going to sit there and think we're just going to block him all day. But if we can get a number of things in the pass game and just get technically sound and fight in the run game, we'll live with a handful of times we're probably going to get beat there. And I don't know, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll be better than that. I just think realistically, a lot of these guys have not played. And today's tough because you're not in pads, you're trying to grab his jersey, whatever. I think when we get the pads on, we'll start to make better evaluations of where we are there.
Final question, everybody? Offensively, do you look at this group, I know it's day one, and feel like you're going to be able to score more points? You started
I'm really excited. I think I understand better where we are with what guys can do, and we all do. And I think we've spent the whole offseason in that vein of where we're headed. I think we had a good feel for some of the young guys when they were coming in, where they would fit. And just based on one day, based on feedback in the summer from the players, they seem to be developing nicely in those roles. I don't want to get too carried away, but we have some guys that can help us. And so we kind of went outside in, skill guys. I think, everybody knows we have 4 or 5 really good backs. 2 or 3 of them are pretty versatile to play inside and outside. We got some outside threats that I think they're developing, and we just talked about the tight ends. I think John's going to be a force in the pass game. I really do. So there's enough out there, and the quarterback in that vein doesn't really have to go win the game all the time. Hopefully, he can just facilitate it and make it better. And when his time comes, he'll have to step and make some plays. But I think we got enough guys on the outside that can do some damage.